Hey everybody, we're here with Hunting the Country 704 Style, brought to you by 704 Outdoors. I am John McPherson, and I am here with Mr. Luke Saul.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yep, and today we're going to do Turkey Talk with Luke. So, Luke has actually been on the team for a lot longer. Every time we think about it, we're just like, a few years.
6 years.
6 years now. 6 years. Well, and I'll tell you why it doesn't feel that long, because the first couple years you were on board with us helping with the fishing side of 704 Outdoors.
Yep, I was came on with, or Corey Shaler brought me on to basically run camera.
Yeah.
We got to fish, we fished and did our fair share of all that, but I was mainly a cameraman.
Right.
Running around chasing fish everywhere we could.
Yeah, so every time we would have different events, different things like that with Corey, that's when I had met Luke, and Luke was helping out with the Cash for the Cure and the different events that we were doing that had all to do with fishing. And then it was later on that I found out that he was actually a bigger hunter than you were a fisher.
Oh yeah, I've been hunting a lot longer than I've been fishing. That's for sure.
Yeah, so the whole time I've been shortchanging him, like, he likes to bass fish, and but you are a heck of a bass fisher, and you got the boat, the setup, everything.
Yeah, it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, so Luke was over, for those of you who have watched the 704 Fishing Edition, that's with Luke and Evan, and Luke has definitely been our bass fishing guy for quite some time now, but he is really in to these stupid old thunder chickens, old turkeys. And for most of you guys that know, I'm a big time hog hunter, and I always look at turkey hunting like, dang, that's a couple weeks that I got to quit baiting so we can shoot some turkeys. But he actually loves chasing these birds.
I can't get over it. And it's definitely. I actually didn't. I turkey hunted some when I was a kid, but really I was probably a teenager before I really jumped in and got. My dad wasn't a big turkey hunter. Took us a few times when I was a kid, but. Right. Really, I didn't really dive into turkey hunting until I was a teenager.
Right.
And once I got a hold of it, or it got a hold of me, that was it for that deal.
Oh yeah, that was. I tell you, the turkey hunting's always been a fun kind of. I guess it was a bridge from deer season to off season, and then I started getting into the pigs, and I tell you, like I went full on with the pigs and didn't hardly turn back. But turkey hunting's always been fun for me and Pops to get out.
Oh yeah,
and it's something you can do, and it's interactive.
Yeah, it's definitely more fun when you have somebody there with you. Whether it be, my dad now he obviously loves to go. Me and the buddies go. It's it's a good time to do with. I mean, I enjoy doing it by myself, but it's a lot more fun. I get as much joy calling one in for somebody else or being with somebody else when they kill one as I do busting the beak myself.
Yeah, and it's good because you could run and gun and talk and goof off and joke. I guess you could essentially, it's more mobile than duck hunting.
Yep.
I guess it's just as social.
Yep.
But, again, you can get out there and move around a little bit.
Yep.
And so where do you think, as far as turkeys versus deer, where do you sit at on that?
Oh, man, I love doing both. They both have the things I really like and things I don't like, but I think I have a hard time saying I like turkey hunting over deer hunting.
Yeah.
I can't say I like hunting turkey any less or turkey hunting any less, but I have a real hard time. I've always, since I was a kid, been just a deer nut. Growing up, that's all I read every magazine, looked at everything I could look at to kill a deer, but I enjoy both of them.
Right.
Pretty much neck and neck.
Yeah, and I think it's the short season for me has something to do with it too. It gives you kind of like that. You better get out there and do it.
Yeah,
deer season kind of like today I don't feel like it, or the weather's going to be back next few days. The weather's going to be bad, so let me sit it out. But you start talking about turkey season being 4 or 5 weeks long.
Yep.
But you better get out there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys, they got, they work Monday through Friday, and they got Saturday to get it done, and get it done before the honey-do list on Saturday afternoon. Yeah. So, which we can hunt on Sunday too. But, some guys get 4 hunts a year. So, right. Whether it rain, snow, shine, high waters, it doesn't matter. You better get out there and do it.
Oh, yeah.
But if we're talking about snow, if you're Paul McVeigh, you're going to be hunting them in the snow. So,
yeah, and that was, I know we've been talking about going up there and trying to kill some turkeys with Paul. He just got dumped on, 14 inches of snow?
I think it's 18 inches of snow last night and
Lord.
another 8 inches today.
Jesus. Yeah, but his season's a little bit later.
Yeah, theirs don't start up there till usually it's the first week of May, but with all this snow they're getting, I don't know if it'll, they base it off the weather up there. So
yeah, so I don't know. He was talking about sometime in May, and so essentially we would be just wrapping up our season here in North Carolina. And for those of you guys, just getting to know us, 704 Outdoors, we're based out of the as obvious 704 Outdoors area code is 704, so you're going to see we hunt a lot in the Cabarrus, Albemarle, Stanley, Rowan, Richmond, Anson, I guess you would say the Piedmont, a little bit more towards the east coast of the state. We have hunted in the mountains quite a bit, but those hills a little bit much for this old fat boy.
they're a little much for anybody.
Yeah, we've hunted a few times in ash chasing turkeys.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, the mountains offer great turkey hunting. I mean, you can hunt anything up there.
Such a struggle,
but it's a struggle.
Such a struggle.
And mountain turkeys are just different too.
Oh wow, just calling and it sounds like the bird's gobbling right beside you, but it's on the next mountain.
He's 3 hills over.
Yeah, and he ain't coming.
No,
he just found him a saddle. He's not going nowhere, and so it was funny. I just had a conversation with a Mossy Oak pro staffer at the Bass Pro Shops last weekend, and we were talking about some different tactics hunting in the mountains and how much what the difference is between hunting here, there, and especially in the coast as well. I mean, they're completely different tactics trying to get these birds to do something.
Oh yeah.
But I guess a lot of it too is just knowing the terrain and the area that you're in, and going from there. But what is your as far as, I know you said you like the turkey hunting, but not as much as deer hunting. But do you tend to hunt the entire season? Do you just like the first couple weeks? How involved do you like to get in turkey season?
I mean, I'm gonna hunt the full season. I do prefer that first to 2 weeks over it all. I think, just in my opinion, you get that. That first week, second week, they're, in my opinion, a little more vocal. Makes it a little more exciting hunt. I feel like the later you get, obviously you can still kill turkeys, but
right.
I feel like you got to be a little more patient, and patience is not my friend in the turkey woods.
I feel like late season is almost like deer hunting. You're finding you're cutting them off from roost to food.
Yep.
Food to roost.
Yes.
And essentially, any sort of calling sometimes not productive, because a lot of times I see them, they're already redheaded and they're done.
They're done. Yep. Yeah. Now again, you can, and it can change at the drop of a hat though. You get that one, one lone beard that wants to, he's looking for love, and he's done bred all of his hens. They've gone on the nest, and so he just gets fired up and he comes in like that. And, a lot of times it can be a real quick hunt, but I do find myself enjoying, if I can kill 2 in the first 2 weeks and not have to go the other 2 weeks. Now that doesn't happen very often. Normally I'm trying to, get myself a bird plus, get my dad, get friends, hunt with friends, film with friends. So I enjoy hunting the whole time. My wife probably wishes it was only 2 weeks long, but it, I'd say, because once and two, I get, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was like, man, once turkey season comes in, I get in this go mode, and right. It's hunting turkeys or nothing.
Oh yeah.
Even, obviously April, May, some of the best bass fishing during the year. Yeah, right. I don't really just throw the boat out in the backyard. I don't really care. I'm not looking for a fishing rod.
Right.
But yeah, I enjoy those first couple weeks. I actually really wish they would open season about 2 weeks earlier than they did, because these past 2 weeks have just been lights out. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous.
That's talking with the biologist and everything. That is actually, what it was designed for. Is to turkey season actually comes in towards the tail end of the breeding cycle, so that they can make sure that most of the hens are already bred, and then so you're essentially, I guess, because if it was 2 weeks earlier, I don't know if there'd be a gobbler left.
Dude, it's absolutely nuts. I mean, we're coming up. It would already started by the time this releases, but I think one of the greatest days of the spring for us to be in the woods is the opening of the youth season.
Oh yeah,
that first Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, I've taken numerous kids, and I mean, and it's the whole woods are on fire with birds gobbling.
Absolutely.
You tend to. The jakes seem to be real on fire on that morning, but it that first the weekend before our season opens, just for whatever reason, just lights out, and you can take a kid out there and get it done in a hurry and just have action packed birds gobbling in your face. I think that's probably in my opinion. People say, oh, I don't miss opening day. I normally don't miss a youth weekend in the woods. Just listening, watching, because it's whether you got a shotgun in your hand or not, it's an absolute blast.
Oh, yeah. Especially great to get the kids out there, get them involved. And the thing about turkey hunting for kids too, it's interactive. They hear it. I mean, even if they hear them gobbling on the roost, their day is made. Just that audible hearing it, and then if the turkey comes in, amazing. If it doesn't, they still heard it. It's different than deer hunting because they may not see a deer. They don't even know if it's out there. But a turkey, he starts raising Cain on that roost. Oh yeah, they know he's there, and their heart's already racing.
Oh yeah, and I feel like turkey hunting could be one of those things for a kid. They're either going to be just fired up out of their mind, or they're going to be bored out of their mind. Because if them suckers ain't gobbling, they don't know. And if them suckers ain't gobbling, boy, you in trouble. They were going, what are we doing out here sitting our butts up in this stupid tree? But, like I said, I think as adults, or as experienced hunters, it doesn't matter. But for those kids, they want to hear them things gobbling. But if you get them out there on that Saturday before, they're wide open. It's like that. Yeah. It's like that's like the last day, in my opinion, that they go all out for whatever reason. Then opening day, they want to get lockjaw. But
they're tired.
They're tired. They didn't gobble too much the weekend before. They got they hung over.
Oh well, guys, we're gonna do a segment here called Gearing Up with 704. Today's Gearing Up with 704 is brought to you by Huntworth. And so our Gearing Up segments, we talk a lot about the different gear that we use ourselves and that we've actually taken out in the field, and share it with you guys, and hopefully give you guys some helpful tips and different ways to use it and how well they work in certain situations. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the different patterns that Huntworth has. And so, Luke, you've been wearing Huntworth for quite a while, actually a whole year before the TV show actually started even using it as a whole. What's your favorite pattern that you like to use for turkey season?
So I really, I started out, the first pattern I bought from Huntworth was their Tarnin pattern. And I was pretty much sold that was a pattern I was stuck with. I felt it did very well in our terrain. And really, it's good, I think, for anywhere. Just the way they pattern the greens and whites and browns all in together. I feel like it was a good all-around pattern. And I'll still stand by that. If you're looking for an all-around pattern, you can't go wrong with the Tarnin. But I now wear the Disruption. And the Disruption is more of a digital camo style pattern. But I still feel it's pretty well rounded. Obviously here in the South we got a lot of pines. Obviously we got oaks, oak bottoms and oak flats and stuff. But I feel like it's a pretty good all around pattern for the turkey season. I wear the Disruption, but I do believe that the Tarnin might be a better pattern for the spring. especially the farther you go south. Like you get down to Alabama, Florida, some of those places where it's really green already.
Right.
Really helps to have those greens mixed in that pattern. I know you wear the tarnin, but I think if you're, and I kind of like to base their patterns geographically. Right. If you're anywhere Midwest to the west, I wouldn't wear anything other than the disruption.
Right.
Out there in especially those grass flats and stuff, that disruption is great.
Right.
If you're hunting in the deep south, I would probably lean more towards the tarnin. But the technology they have inside those patterns is phenomenal. You've seen it firsthand. I know of even deer hunting, being out in the wide open, the deer just don't care. Yeah. And I've noticed the same thing with the turkeys. I mean, we just had we've been talking about this turkey I got on film this week.
Yeah. So if you guys go to our Facebook page, you can actually see the video that Luke posted up. He went in the woods. He couldn't help it. He went to go do some scouting and found himself right in the midst of it.
Right in the midst of them, and had a big gobbler at 50, 60 yards, and I was sitting against a tree with nothing around me, and a camera sitting in front of me on a tripod. And the turkey had no clue I was there. He didn't even, was not in the slightest bit spooked, wasn't concerned at all. And that's all going back to that pattern and the technology they have in the digital. They're both, I guess the tarnin and disruption are both technically a digital pattern.
Right.
And the technology they have in that pattern, the breakup, it's phenomenal. And I haven't had any issues deer hunting, turkey hunting, any of it. I've wore the disruption the past 2 years turkey hunting and have, shot them right in the face at close. They don't. It hasn't been a problem at all. But if I had to say a favorite one, I do think the disruption is my favorite. I feel like to the eye, it's a little cooler pattern in my opinion.
Yeah. A little more stylish.
I guess you'd say. Us young bucks like the style, but yeah. So
some of us call trade show camo.
Yeah, trade show camo. You're gonna catch the eye.
Yeah, look out.
Yeah, it's the one you walk
it's
in
the gas. For you to strut, not for the turkey.
you walk in the gas station, and somebody looks over at you, you're like, job done. Going home empty-handed, but somebody looked at me in the gas station. But no,
that camo. Pattern.
Yeah. So I think my favorite would be the disruption out of their patterns.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So the disruption. So now, how does that fit as far as your style of turkey hunting? Now, do you like to run and gun? Do you like to just find your tree, plant it there for a few hours? Ground blinds. What are you?
Yeah, I'm very much a run and gun style hunter. It does me to be on about 4,000 acres. Oh. That way I can run all over the place. I'm not. I said we were talking a little bit before we come on the air of. I'm not the most. I can sit in a deer stand from daylight to dark and not bat an eye.
Right.
I sit on a tree for a turkey for 30 minutes and it's like I got ants in my pants.
Yeah.
I got to get up and move.
You got to go.
But I'm the older I get, the little more experience I get, the more I'm learning to just sit there and
a little bit more patient.
But I'm definitely a run and gun style hunter. And I think even I still think. The camo plays a part in that.
Right.
Because whether you're going from hardwoods to an open field or, going hardwoods to pines, if you have a pattern that really blends in and the breakup is all across the board, you can kind of sneak through those areas and not be detected.
Right.
And like I said, even with this pattern, I've seen it even with turkeys, they will. Most of the time you step out in the field, there's a turkey there, and turkeys are gone.
Oh yeah.
And I've
pick up movement.
They pick up movement unbelievably, and so they're. I feel like half time they see you click your safety off. So, but I've noticed just like we've noticed in the deer woods of they'll just stand there and look at you.
Oh yeah.
And it's now don't walk out in the middle of a green pasture and start jumping up and down. But stealthiness and woodsmanship plays into that, but. They get in, you get out in the open field and have some sort of breakup, and they'll just stand there and look at you. And now the end game is they're going to run off because they're a turkey, but, the deer are the same way. They'll sit there and look at you for 20 minutes.
They just can't figure it out.
They can't figure it out, and that's all testament to that technology and that breakup of that camouflage. But back to the original question, I'm by far way more of a run and gun hunter than I am sit on a tree and wait all day.
Right.
That sounds just miserable.
And if you guys go check out our social media platforms, you'll see Luke does a lot of different videos as far as mouth calls. I know you've been using a lot of was it Overcash?
Overcash custom calls.
Custom calls.
I've used Overcash or Destry Overcast's calls for probably better part of 10 years.
Yeah.
A good buddy of mine is married to his daughter. And I've known Destry for a long time, and a phenomenal. If you want to talk turkey hunting,
yeah,
that's the joker to go to. He he eats, sleeps, breathes, turkey hunting. But
right.
yeah, I've used his calls for going on, like I said, better part of 10 years. And in my opinion, you ain't gonna find a better call on a shelf.
Yeah.
So shout out to Destry, Overcash custom calls. Reach out to them. They're really fully custom calls, which you don't see.
Yeah, because I know I think you gave me 3 or 4 different calls last year, and they worked great.
Yep.
I mean, really, the turkeys responded very well.
Yep.
Had a good time last year with them. And I just, again, I give it, 2 weeks. I think about it 2 weeks, a couple days, and then I'm like, all right.
Yeah, usually it's about day 3, and you're going, I'm over this. Where's the pigs
at? Yeah, so usually, like I said, I go I go a lot with my pops. Pops enjoys turkey hunting. He really does. And I think a lot of it's just me and him running around the woods. I'd say there's probably more or less of it as far as the turkey's concerned. I mean, it's always fun hunting with Pops, too, because he don't care if it's a Jake or a Tom. It don't matter. So.
Yeah, my dad likes to say he cares until one stand in front of him.
Oh, man.
If that joker's got a sprig off his chest, he's probably going to bust that sucker in the head.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a funny story. I was sitting over here, right here in Stanley County, called, and I could hear a couple Jakes gobbling together, short gobbles, and then I heard a boss gobble down on the bottom. And I said, oh, here we go. And so we're sitting there calling, and he's responding. The Jakes are responding, and they're coming. But I hear the boss in the back. Mm-hmm. He's coming. And so I lean over, and Dad's on the other side of falling down cedar from me, and I'm like, the big one's coming, And then so all of a sudden, I look over my left shoulder, and I see a couple Jakes going. And I'm like, all right. I said, the Jakes are coming. They're coming around us. I said, but the boss is coming up the bottom. And he gobbled. And I was like, oh, he's a man, son. Mm-hmm. He is a mature bird, right? And I said, oh, he's coming. Boom! And I'm like, what in the world? I turn around, and there's a Jake flopping. And Dad is just tickled to death laughing. He said, I couldn't take it.
Yeah,
I said, I laid over, and I was just laughing so hard. That big bird, obviously it didn't come up afterwards. A lot of times, you can get another one to come in, but for the sheer laughter that was happening on the hillside, he wasn't coming. Yeah. So I was just laughing so hard at Pops. He was tickled to death, and I don't think he had a 4-inch beard, if that.
Yeah.
But Pops was just as happy that he shot that bird.
Yeah.
And we went over there and picked him up and just steady laughing. Had a great time. And that's what it's about. It doesn't matter, how long of a beard, but it was, I think it was just more fun. More humorous to me knowing that the big one was coming, and he knew it was coming, but he just couldn't take it, and that Jake had to have it.
Yeah, I took it. Speaking, talking about that opening weekend before season, I took a kid. This is probably 6 or 7 years ago. I took a kid, and first thing had birds gobbling. Again, that youth week day. I mean, the whole woods were lit up with turkeys. It was which one we're gonna go after, and ended up walking right up under a couple, it was 2 or 3 longbeards that were roosted. I could see them in the tree. We didn't think they seen us in the kind of the end game. I don't think they seen us, but ended up calling it I'm talking about 2 magnums, and come down to the creek, and they just turned around and left. And that was this kid's first experience with turkeys was just 2 magnum longbeards and gobbling their face off and come. I thought they were going to walk right in and shoot them. We would be done in 5 minutes. Ended up we went and got on another group of turkeys. Again, I could tell it was a whole just gaggle of Jakes, just a whole pile of them. And I hit the call. They gobbled. His eyes got as big as saucers, and I said, well, I knew they were Jake's, but he didn't. Like I said, he didn't care on any level. The kid was 10, 12 at the time, And I think it was about 15 seconds later, there was like 8 or 9 Jakes, and they're flogging the decoy. I mean, they're just going crazy. And I looked at him, and they're at 10 yards, right. 15 yards, and I look over, I kind of glance over at him, against his eyes are big as baseballs, and he says, he goes, "Can I shoot one?" I'm like, "You can do whatever you want to do. Like they're standing there. Get one to stand still for long enough." And he pulls the trigger and his gun clicks.
Oh no!
He was shooting a Mossberg 500 pump gun, 20 gauge. I said, of course I freak out because I'm thinking, we got 8 turkeys at 10 steps and his gun clicks. So I said, we'll put another shell in there. At this point, thinking, okay, it's over at this point.
Right.
He racks the gun. It was like we weren't even there. They didn't pay a lick of attention. Pulls the trigger a second time. The gun goes click. And I'm going, do you have shells in your gun? So now I'm down. Okay, I knew he only had 3 shells in his gun. I said, well, go one more time. Well, he picked the gun straight up in the air and racked that sucker.
Lord.
Well, of course, at that point, they take off running. Well, he ended up shooting a turkey, one of those Jakes, on the run in the back of the head at like 40 yards. Like the luckiest shot here. But we, we called his dad once we got done. Of course, he had 3-4 inch beard, right. And no spurs. And we called his dad, and he goes, "Where's his beard at?" And his son said, "Oh, and I think I shot it off." He didn't care. His dad was expecting a big old long beard, and we got this little Jake, and he goes, "Where's his beard at?" "Oh, well, I think I shot it off, Dad. I don't really know where the rest of it's at."
It's there in between them feathers somewhere.
yeah. But again, it's they don't. Most people don't really care. I can name several people off the top of my head that's going to shoot the first Jake that walks in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I tell you, I think that's. I don't think it's been, I guess, socially, ruined like most of deer hunting has, where it's got to be a booner or 130, 140. Where I think we're turkey hunting, it's still a turkey's a turkey. You get one to come into a call, whether he's got a 5 or 6 inch beard or a 10 or 11 inch beard. It's success.
It's success. Yeah.
And that's the fun part about it. It's not so. I guess hadn't been killed on social media yet. Now there are some that are trying.
Yeah.
There's some that are like, you hear it on social media. We're like, oh well, in another year, and I'm like, oh, don't start that.
Yeah, the first person that tells me a turkey needs to be 3 before you shoot him in the face, I'm gonna punch him in the face. I'm gonna shoot that 2-year-old that rolls in there as quick as anybody. But it's not. I don't know why it's not. I don't even, and I can't even tell. I mean, I'm more of a person of, if it makes you happy,
right,
let the smoke roll, baby. If it's a a 20 inch deer, or if it's a 2 inch beard turkey, if it's legal, and under the legal means, it's your tag. You use it how you want to. Yeah. I'll never.
I tell you, if I see a bearded hen,
she's getting smoked.
We actually seen Pops' property in Anson County. I filmed this past deer season. I filmed a flock, I kid you not, has 3 bearded hens in it.
Yeah, they get
3. I unbelievable. To see one, I was like, oh wow, there's a bearded hen. And I got the footage for it too. I'd probably put it as some B-roll clips, just in some of the show for season 10. But just filming it, and I was like looking, I was like, well, there's one. I was like, man, that is awesome. That's my first time I've actually seen a bearded hen in the wild. Of course, she's on that big old corn pile. This is the last day of deer season. We're not turkey hunting, right? So I see her, and then all of a sudden, I see another one. I'm like, no, there's not a second one, And then all of a sudden, here comes another one, and I'd say there's about 15 hens. So there's a big group of hens that are in this group, and 3 of them, could not believe it, had beards.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never seen a bearded hen, I don't believe, in the wild.
Yeah.
I have gotten, it was actually last year. So last year, I think it was just after deer. I think it was right in between deer season and turkey season. I put some cameras up to run, and
right.
I actually got a picture of one bearded hen. but I've never seen one in the wild that I can remember. But yeah, if old bearded hen bear hopes she don't walk by me, she'll catch that smoke, son. Yeah.
Well, that's actually, I mean, just talking right now that we just reminded myself about that. I mean, that might be my target. I might have to head back out on Pop's property and see what about one of these old bearded hens.
As long as it's a bearded turkey, you know. Yeah, it's I mean that's one of those. It's just one of those things that, again, it's like one of those phenomenons you see that you think it's cool. You know, it's really no different than the doe with antlers.
Yeah.
But you forget about the bearded hens a lot of times, and I feel like if you seen one in the wild, you'd be like,
wow,
wait a second, wait a second, she can.
Yeah,
that's legal. You know what I'm saying? But it's turkey hunt. You know, turkey hunt for me. That's the thing is you got all these different. There's so many different avenues and spectrums to the whole thing, and you can even rope in the fall seasons and that sort of thing. But it I said the bearded hen thing. It kind of reminded me too. I'd forgot about that, but that's they'll catch that smoke.
Oh, I tell you, I might now that I remembered about it, because I completely forgot until we are just talking about this. I'm going to have to call Pops, and that might be where we start the season at. I said, because we were actually talking about it the other day, and he's like, where you want to go? And I'm like, well, the lease in Richmond, I mean, we got that one that's putting on a show every day.
He's almost too easy to kill.
Oh, yeah. I said, we may have to go bust him, but then we're like, just sitting there thinking about it, so now I'm going to tell him, like, what, man, I might have a plan B here. We might need to go and check out that one spot and see if we can find them old
Go work on your hen communication.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you, man, I could call in a hen quicker than I can a gobbler. I do a little kind of some purrs and some clucks, and man, them hens come right in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've killed a lot of turkeys calling their girlfriends in.
Yeah, absolutely. Just mocking them. Well, guys, we appreciate you guys listening today with Turkey Talk with Luke. And it's been fun podcast with you, brother. And you guys tune in. So every week we're going to have a podcast as we start to really get deeper into the seasons. We'll talk about all sorts of different tips and tactics and stories and fun stuff. And then you guys can always follow us on social media. And we'll have some different questions and topics that are coming in upcoming episodes that we can get your input and your answers and things of that nature. So you guys be sure to check us out. And again, it is Hunting the Country with 704 Style, brought to you by 704 Outdoors. See you on the next one.
We'll see y'all. Good luck.